Okay, I'm super excited for today's video because this is actually a series I've been wanting to introduce on my channel for quite some time. It's sort of a series I've already kind of introduced with my Neapolitan body scrub video I did. But like, if you guys get annoyed of the scrubs, just know that I do post 2 bonus videos over on my Patreon every single month. They normally don't have to do with scrubs. And I create blog versions of all the recipes I share here on my YouTube channel as well. And my Patreon does cost money, of course, so I understand if you can't sign up. You do not need to sign up for my Patreon in order to learn to formulate. You can learn everything you need to know about formulating with my Formulating for Beginners series. So go check that out. I'll have it linked down below. We're gonna make scrubs look so freaking cute because you guys love scrubs, and scrubs already, like, you know, look cute because they're colorful, but let's make them cuter. We're gonna make them into like desserts, because desserts are always so cute. You slap a face on a chocolate chip cookie, it's like the cutest thing in the world. We're gonna be making macaroons out of scrubs. Initially I had a whole other dessert in mind, but that dessert is going to be, it's going to be a lot more work, and I'm going to need to do some experiments. But I think this macaroon will work with last week's body scrub formula. And I got the macaroon idea from Jenna of Ravega Cosmetics because I was telling her how I really want to do this series and I'm really excited to introduce it. And she's like, oh my god, make macaroons, that'd be so cute. And I'm like, yes. She's from the UK. In the UK, she was saying that you can't sell products that look like food. Like, you can't sell a skincare product that looks like food. It's against the law. And I think last week's scrub recipe will be completely perfect. So let's start making the macaroons. I'm super excited.
So we're going to start with phase A, and we're making a 1,600 gram batch. This is the same formula as last week, so you can skip ahead if you want. The first ingredient is Redomousse SCG, or it's also known as Ecomousse. You could use a different waxy emulsifier like emulsifying wax NF or BTMS 50, but it will change the final hardness of the scrub. And I used 80 grams of the Redomousse SCG. And then I'm going to add in cetyl alcohol. You could use maybe cetyl alcohol, but it will change the final hardness of this product, so you'll have to do some experiments. And I'm using 80 grams. And then I'm going to add in some refined shea butter. You could use unrefined shea butter or any other butter you want. If you use a different butter, again, it will change the hardness of this scrub. And I added 160 grams of shea butter. And then I'm using 454.4 grams of sunflower oil. You can use whatever carrier oil you want. And then I'm going to take my stovetop and place a pan on it, fill it with like an inch of water, put my stovetop on about like a medium heat, and then I'm going to cover my scrub with some aluminum foil, place it in the water and let everything melt, and just come back periodically and mix it as everything melts so it all melts evenly. And then once everything is melted, just come back periodically and mix it as it cools down. You can even place it in the fridge to let it cool down if you want to. So now we're moving on to phase B. As you can see, the scrub base has hardened up, and I do want to mention that this formula is just for the base. It doesn't include sugar. I use equal parts sugar, so you can use whatever amount of sugar you want, but I recommend equal parts sugar. So the first ingredient for phase B is Optifin. This is the preservative. That way, if water gets into the scrub, it won't grow mold, yeast, and bacteria. And then I'm going to add in 1.6 grams of vitamin E. It's not a preservative, but it helps keep oils from going rancid so they won't like smell weird. And just mix everything together. So now I'm going to add in the sugar, and I'm adding in a total of 800 grams. So the base of my scrub made 800 grams, and then I added 800 grams of sugar, that is equal parts, and that makes 1,600 grams. Some people were confused by this in my last video. It's just an old formula, and I didn't include sugar in the formula. I wrote this formula like 5 years ago, but I divided it up into equal parts, and each part I added in 2.6 grams of my fragrance oil. I used this birthday cake scent from makingcosmetics.com and colored it pink with ballet slippers from Mad Mica. And in total, you need 16 grams of fragrance oil, but since I divided it into 6 parts, each part gets 2.6 grams of fragrance oil, and I did different scents and colors for each one. This one is Pineapple Tree from Simbi Fragrance, and I'm using Tangerine Dream from Mad Mica to color it. And I will have all of these linked down below, along with all the tools and equipment I use. So for the next one, I use Gibson Girl Waffle Cone from Simbi Fragrance and colored it with Bright Yellow Raincoat from Mad Mica. And then I used Cucumber and Melon from naturesgarden.com and colored it with Envy from madmica.com. And then I'm using Berry Blossom from Brambleberry with Key West Blue from Mad Mica. And then Hello Sugar from Bulk Apothecary and Grape Knee High from madmica.com. And those are all my colors, so let them cool down completely before covering them. And you're going to want to cover them and let them sit overnight before doing anything with them. All right, so here we are the next day. I am using this, what is it, grab and seal or something? I don't know. Basically, I recommend parchment paper, but whatever I used worked as well. And what you want to do is scoop out your scrub. So it's going to be a lot harder the next day, which is good because that's what we want. And you're going to want to pat it down very flat like a pancake. Okay, I don't, it's pretty easy to do. I don't really know how to explain it. You can basically just see what I'm doing. Just keep patting it down. It's very, very easy. The scrub gets very like malleable with your body heat, so you can easily just shape it to whatever you want. You want to kind of like circle it, make it as even as possible. See how I'm like pressing in the sides with my hands? You want to make it very, very even and flat as much as possible. Don't use a rolling pin because it'll stick. And then once you have it all good, pick it up, put it in your freezer. Do this with all your colors. It's actually really, really easy, so don't worry. And you just want to let them sit in the freezer for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It really just depends on how hot or cold your house is. If your house is hot, this probably won't work. And you might need to add a lot more hardener to the scrub. But here we are after letting it sit in the freezer, and look, it just lifts right off of the parchment paper, so you shouldn't have any issues. So what I'm going to do is take a shot glass and like rub it with rubbing alcohol, because if you do this, it won't stick to the scrub. And then make little round macaroons. That's all you gotta do. And then if it gets sticky, like if a bunch of scrub sticks to the shot glass, just wipe it again with some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel. And then all of the macaroons should just lift right off the parchment paper. If they are sticking, put this back in the freezer and let it get cold again and lift them off. And if that's the case, it's probably like way too hot in your house, or the scrub just needs more hardener. And since it's summer, this is going to be actually a lot harder to make. I should have done this like the winter, or maybe even increase the hardener in this scrub, because it was hot in my house today while I made this, and it made it a little bit hard. But anyways, after you have all your little circles, the scrub just like lifts right off the parchment paper, and you should just be able to like ball it up and then use that ball to just pick up any scrub still left on the paper and then just flatten it out again. And you can just do the same thing all over again. Put this in the freezer and make more macaroons after it sits in the freezer for like 10 minutes. But yeah, here are some of the little round macaroon things I made. I'm going to just take those and slowly pull them off the table and put them on a piece of cardboard. This is how you can like transfer them throughout your home. And I'm going to put these all back into the freezer again. And here are all my little colors. If you see that one paper in the back, those are all my like dud macaroons that kind of look bad. But anyways, whatever leftover color you have, because you want to make sure you have some color left over, you want to put them in piping bags. You know, it's up to you, whatever you want to do, however much cream you want. Have fun with it. Just make sure you do leave some color left for the filling. And yeah, just fill up your piping bags, cut off the tips, and now we have all of our colors. And I think it's just kind of self-explanatory from here. Just pipe some icing onto one of the little rounds, and then just take another round and then place that right on top. Like so. And then there you go. You got a cute little macaroon. And honestly, my initial plan was to make the filling white, but the scrub doesn't naturally look white, and I didn't feel like trying to get a white scrub. So I decided to use coloring as a filling. And I honestly was not a fan of like having just two bold colors. I think white filling would have looked a lot better. And if I ever make these again, I'll use white filling. But I do think the macaroons that use the same color on the inside as the outside ended up looking the cutest, which I actually did not like at first. But after all these sat and like froze and hardened up, these ones ended up being my favorites. And I only made one of each too. That makes me sad. But yeah, after you make them into the macaroons, you're going to want to put them in the freezer again, just to like harden up again. And yeah, that's how they look, guys. You can like package them however you want, like in like a big jar or like a bag. but I do recommend storing them in the fridge or like freezer, especially if it's warmer where you are. If it's cold where you are, they're probably fine. But if they're sitting in your bathroom, bathrooms like heat up, so they might get like soft and like flatten and not look good if they sit in your bathroom. So I recommend keeping them in the fridge. This isn't something that's like practical that you would probably want to sell. I just think it's fun, and I hope it gives you guys some inspiration. And you use a scrub just like any other scrub. Once you get it in your hands, it'll soften up and you just rub it in circular motions. And when it comes into contact with water, it gets like this milkiness. These are the Macaron scrubs. Let me know your comments, your thoughts. Subscribe if you're new here. And also hit that notification bell so you're notified every single time I upload. I had so much fun recording this video. Personally, my favorite is the macaroons that are all the same color. But which ones do you prefer? Do you prefer the ones that are all the same color, or do you like the ones that are a combination of two colors? Let me know in the comments. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.